So welcome back guys to the second edition in the series of videos that we have for the MMI Prime. Stick around because I'm going to show you guys how to install it in your vehicle. It's the third generation BMWTech MMI, both for CarPlay and Android Auto. And if you've been looking to get Apple CarPlay or Android Auto in your BMW, we got your back, guys. This is the product you've been waiting for. So let's get into it. When you open the box, you're greeted by the interface itself. Here is the plug-and-play harness. We have the Wi-Fi antenna, the USB AV harness, the video out cable, plus you also have the option for ordering a front camera kit as well as a rear camera kit. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to install the whole thing with the exception of the front camera and rear camera. That will be another video for another day. Now let's get started. Here's what you're going to need. Our BMWTech trim removal tool is excellent. It's great to prevent from marring up your interior surfaces. And I'd like to welcome you guys to the Bay Area of the Orlando showroom. If you haven't been there yet and you're local, come pay us a visit. Now let's get into it. So like always, when you're working on electrical components, remember to remove the negative terminal on the battery. So grab your 10mm deep socket. If you don't have one, use a crescent wrench or an open-ended box end wrench. Once you loosen it, spin it back and forth and it should come right off. With power disconnected from your car, let's put a rag over top of that trunk latch. That is, unless you want to climb through your back seat to reconnect that battery terminal to open up the trunk again. Now we will put down a rag and start removing the lighting panel underneath your air conditioning clusters. Once that's removed, simply pull back on this little plastic tab and with your other hand push out the LED light. There you go. Pretty easy, right? Now we'll start removing the dash on the far side where the passenger sits. This thinner piece of plastic can be a little bit more delicate, so you want to be careful when you're prying it off. Then wiggle back and forth on the thicker portion where the air conditioning comes out, and you'll find it pop out pretty easily. Now let's go ahead and remove the cables for the climate control, the door locks, and the caution lights. With your fingers, simply grip and pull. Same thing here. Now on to removing the T20 screws. There is a total of 6. So if you happen to be using a drill, set the brake settings to a low impact so you don't strip anything. The control unit should pull out easily. Now we will remove this wire simply by pulling. Just a couple more screws and that head unit will come out easily. And set these cables aside. Carefully pull the head unit out and take a look at the back. Here is where you will find the main harness for the head unit. The harness lock simply flicks open and it'll pull right out. And since we've already removed the 2 screws holding the display, it should simply wiggle free. Spin carefully and remove this cable. Now that the monitor has been removed, the video cable has to get routed back down to where the head unit is sitting, because this end of the cable is going to be plugging into the MMI unit itself. Again, this is the video cable. Keep it in place and continue to pull the other end down into this area. Now that we have successfully pulled the cable out, we're going to tuck it underneath the head unit so it can plug into the MMI box. And then we're going to take BMW's wiring harness and plug it in to the OEM wiring harness, taking note of how the pins line up. At this time, I'd like to mention that there are some harnesses out there that have fiber optic cables that have to be moved over from the OEM harness to the BMW's harness. So tuck the excess cable in the back towards the bottom, and then plug in BMW's wiring harness into the head unit, making sure that the lock's pulled back first, allowing the harness to seat in properly. And once you see that it's sitting in properly, go ahead and push the lock closed. And then we're going to take BMW's monitor wire and run that accordingly, making sure that the side that has the 90-degree angle is going towards the monitor so it can sit properly while the monitor is installed, allowing the other end of the connector to plug into the MMI box. Then we'll take the video cable and run it up through the existing path of the previous OEM monitor cable. And once you're through the first obstacle, go ahead and push the cable through where the old monitor wire was running. There you have it. Pretty easy. And then we'll plug it into the monitor and reinstall the old monitor back in, making sure that it is seating flush with the dashboard. Now we're ready to put the head unit back where it goes, making sure that there are no snagging cables behind it. There's enough space to push them down and keep them organized. So now we have the 2 monitor jumpers, the factory one that runs to the prime, and then the BMW's one that runs to the monitor, along with the harness jumper that runs to the prime as well. And just as you'd expect, everything is clearly marked so you don't get confused on where you're plugging anything in. The antenna, the LCD monitor out, and the LCD in. So the LCD in is where the jumper from the head unit plugs into, and the LCD out is where we jumper from the prime box to the monitor. So let's plug in the monitor. And now we'll plug in the head unit. Now we'll take the harness jumper and plug it into the power, making sure that the lock pins are facing up. Doing the same with the AV USB accessory cable. Taking a look at the accessory cable, you can see that we have the USB coming out of it, and we want that to be able to sit freely so we can get the USB cable installed in a place where we can plug in. And now we have the antenna that we're going to plug in next. You can see the antenna cable looks like a mini coaxial cable. It has a twist lock on it, so you just push it in and spin it tightly. And now we have all the connections made. And make sure once you receive the box that you refer to the PDF instructions that we provide you. There are dip switch settings that you may have to adjust depending on the unit that you have. You can see here, I have a 6.5-inch screen, so I'll set the dip switches how they're supposed to be. So now that we have all the wires plugged in, we're going to pull the box out and we're going to try to make sure that all the cables are addressed properly. Just remember that the USB cable and the antenna cable both have to be free. So when people like to dress their cables, some might choose to use Velcro or zip ties or electrical tape. Some might choose to use some of the fabric tape, which is pretty good, but in this case, I'll just be using Velcro. And you should find enough space to fit the cables back behind the box. One thing I recommend prior to installing the box permanently, do a dry fit to make sure that it sits in properly. Looks like it'll fit fine. I decided to use some stick-on Velcro to apply to the bottom of the box so it stays in place inside the cavity. You also want to make sure that the LED light for the panel is also loose. A quick tip, when you're sticking on the Velcro, have it sitting towards the front. If anything should happen and you need to remove it, it'll be a little easier to pry off. And there you go, it's not going anywhere. So now we have the antenna loose and the USB loose. And you can see here, this is a perfect place that we can set the antenna. It's pretty strong, so you shouldn't have any problem sitting it there. So now we'll grab our USB cable and dress it in properly. It's not too long, so you should have enough space to tuck it behind. So in this F30 I'm working on, I found a perfect little spot to slide the USB cable through. I'll just pull it through here and have it hang loose once we put the lighting panel back in. Now that I'm done with that, I'll tuck in the excess cable. Now it's all set. Now we're going to put the head unit screws back in place. And now may be a good time for me to mention that some people may have a head unit that's too large to install this MMI Prime in this location, at which point you'll have to install the unit behind the glove box. Moving on, now we'll go ahead and plug the controller back in. Guide the wire as needed and set it back in place. Let's tighten those last 4 T20 screws to secure it in place. Grab your bottom lighting panel and we'll put the LED back where it goes. All you need to do is snap it back in place. Set the panel in and snap it into place. Then we'll reinstall the air vent panel that we removed earlier, making sure that we'll reconnect those wires that we removed. You can see here the panel actually has a place for the wire to rest in so it doesn't get bound up when we push the panel back in place. Now snap the panel, carefully moving your way over to the passenger side. Take your cloth, wipe it down, and we're almost there. So uncover your trunk latch and we'll reconnect the battery. This way, we can go ahead and start enjoying our MMI Prime. Looks like we're all wrapped up, and now we can go ahead and start enjoying our brand new 3rd generation BeamerTech MMI Prime. And some of you who are looking to install some front and rear cameras, the MMI supports those features as well, and you can select that option when you're purchasing online. Here's what the front camera kit includes, and also the rear camera kit. And that about wraps it up, guys. If you're looking to connect with us, hit us up on social media. And don't forget to check out the links in the description to see more from our blogs. You can keep up to date on the deals we have coming soon. You will want to be on the lookout because Black Friday is just around the corner. And if you'd like us to help you and you're local in Orlando, pay us a visit. Or go online to our website where you can find the nearest certified Beamer Tech installer. And more from us here at Beamer Tech, where we can help you get your BMW perfected. Once again, guys, my name is Chaz. I really appreciate you for taking your time to watch. If you've got any questions, just let us know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for the latest videos from here at the shop. See you next time.